I want to take a second here to recognize our fallen heroes as we sit back and enjoyed our freedoms this past weekend. Always remember our countrymen that gave their life for us to have them. Us here at Agent Life Media Group will always try and stand for those freedoms. Thank you to every man and woman that gave their life to protect our way of life. My next guest is the owner and founder of 402 Golf here in Norfolk. Justin, thanks for making time to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem. I'm Zach Miller with my co-host Vance Neidig.
Nice to meet you, Justin.
Yeah, you as well.
And we are touching base with Justin Sommerfeld today. Justin, you've kind of been a fan of the podcast for a while now, right?
Yeah. Saw it kind of back last year a little bit.
Awesome.
Liked the feel of it. So,
did you ever think you'd have your own episode?
No, and it's funny. I told my buddy that I was going to be on a podcast, and he thought it was cool because a couple of years ago we thought about doing one around Nebraska and Iowa's rivalry because we had a buddy that is an Iowa fan, and we'd always gang up on him. So it would have been fun dunking on each other.
That's fun. My dad's an Iowa fan, so Vance and him get a little heated sometimes when they're together. So what's been your favorite episode so far?
I've actually enjoyed the roundtable style with the politicians that are running for offices in Norfolk. And granted, I am a Norfolk resident, but I don't live inside city limits, so I don't get to vote for some of those things. But it's still good to know what's going on in the city.
Because it definitely affects you still.
It does, yeah.
That's good. Those were some really good. We had a lot of fun with those in the beginning, and then they kind of got a little not repetitive, but the questions were always the same. So for me, it was kind of, oh man,
it kind of got long, but we did it for a reason, and I'm glad we did it, and I'd do it again. It just we were excited to get back into this style, and we get to learn.
I feel like those are helpful too, because some people don't really pay enough attention to what some people stand for. So unless you can kind of break it down in layman's terms, it's tough to know what you're voting for and who you're voting for. So.
Right.
That's kind of why we like that too. In the long form, you get a better feel of what the person's like.
Yeah.
Those 2-minute answers, you can can those answers, and you can hide who you truly are pretty easily. So we prefer it that way to get a little organic quick answers out of them, organic conversation, that type of thing.
Yeah. We're glad you liked them.
Yeah.
That's fun. So let's get a little bit of background on you. Are you originally from Norfolk?
Yeah. Born and raised.
Awesome. What was your childhood like here?
So I grew up out in the Woodland Park area. So I did go to a Norfolk public school to start, out there in Woodland Park. And growing up out there, it was, there were a lot more kids out there than there are now, it feels like, but that generation of where I'm at's kind of coming up now with kids. So it's good to see them out there. Super quiet out there. Not a lot went on. School was always cool. Had a great principal there, Mr. Dotson, and really enjoyed the close-knit feel we had out there, because it is the most populous part of Stanton County. So but we all have Norfolk addresses.
That is kind of funny. Yeah, with Woodland Park, it kind of seems like it goes in like waves, where there'd be a lot of kids, and then it seems like that kind of goes away, and then it's down a bit, and then it comes right back.
Yep.
When we were talking about with the housing, where some people probably moved out of Woodland Park, and then these new families that are having kids are coming in. So it's kind of like just a big vicious circle.
We ended up out there. My dad actually worked for the development company that started out there, Cox Development, and that's kind of how he ended up out there. He built 101 houses out there, and 101 was mine back in 2020. So
that's awesome.
It's really cool that's kind of been a dream to own a house that's built by your dad. So
right. That's awesome.
Cool.
And who did we talk to about that development? We talked to somebody.
I don't remember.
We just had a conversation about that development out there not that long ago. It's kind of fun. So you went to Norfolk High.
Yep.
Any sports or activities?
So I was involved in football and basketball and track until I was a freshman. And then I was very sick. I think it was 8th grade year when I was 14. I might have been freshman year. Ended up contracting juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and doc said we need to stop the sports, because anytime you get injured with that, it's like 10 times the recovery. Joints don't heal the same. So I stepped away from that stuff and just kind of watched. Was really involved in Panther Posse. I enjoyed supporting everybody. So
can you explain that a little? I'm not as familiar with rheumatoid arthritis.
So it was kind of a freak thing, and I remember it vividly, obviously, but I remember we were at a student staff volleyball or basketball game. It was just about the end of the first semester, and I went home and woke up the next morning, and it just felt like every single muscle in my body ached. I had this weird rash on the inside of my thigh, and a fever and a sore throat. So we went through the gamut of getting tested for strep throat, a couple other things. And it just kind of snowballed from there. We never really found the origin of what caused whatever infection I had, just that what was left over was juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, because it's an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
So, body turns around and starts to fight the body.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard any juvenile rheumatoid arthritis.
It's weird too. I have a cousin, her daughter actually contracted it too.
Oh, really?
And she found out when she was 5.
Small world.
So,
So you think it came from sorry.
Does that stay with you forever then? Or?
So, my rheumatologist thought I was exposed to it young enough to where I kind of grew out of it. It can rear its ugly head later in life, but most people end up with some form of arthritis when they get older. Yeah. But it's been in remission. I haven't taken medicine in over a decade. So
that's awesome. So they think it came from some sort of infection.
Yep,
previously?
and we honestly think it was strep throat that just kept going.
Just a case of strep throat, and then you get this, and you can't place. That sucks. Well, at least you got to do Panther Posse, and that was always fun.
Oh yeah, yep.
I never really got to be a part of it, but
yeah, our senior year was that 2010 class that got to the state final.
Oh, okay.
And then we got bounced on by Omaha Central. Nobody expects a freshman to have a triple double in a championship game, but
right. That's funny. That's good. Anything else on high school at all?
High school was pretty mundane for me. Just stayed in my lane. Tried to be friends with everybody. Tried to focus on getting through school. And
were you one of those that knew like most of your classmates' names?
I was that way. I would say so.
Yeah,
definitely.
I always said they could show me a picture of somebody and I'd be able to at least get their first name, if not mostly get their last name.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a few hundred?
What was my class? 400 something?
Oh geez, mine was only
300.
Mine was 280.
I think I'm wrong. 400 is probably way high. It's probably 3 something.
You'd be close. My dad actually, I think, was the biggest class in Norfolk High in 81. It's like 460.
Okay, so I was probably 3 something. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Tell us how you decided on college. So kind of take us from high school. I did a little research like I try to do, but I didn't really see kind of your college path.
So I'm a really, really good self-starter and self-learner. So I struggled with what I wanted to go to school for, how I wanted to go to school. And at that time, it was more traditional, pick a college, go to class, do your lectures, do your homework, all that stuff. And I was actually enrolled at Northeast. And then I was really attracted to a sports management and marketing program that the University of Phoenix was offering. And I know people hear that and are like, oh, you just stared at a screen and got a degree, which, some can be said for people that sit through class sometimes these days. It's just a fancy piece of paper with your name on it.
Online's probably better because then you're not getting all the opinions thrown down your throat.
Yeah. So I did that. I ended up getting an associate's degree there, and they actually canceled the program after my first year. So I switched to just a business degree and finished out. But I really enjoyed that format. And I mean, I didn't make a ton of friends being online, but I was able to do a few things, work a little here and there. So
stay out of trouble though. You're not going to the bar every night.
Right.
It's funny because I actually went into sports management when I first went to UNK. Didn't finish, obviously, but and most of the viewers already know that. That's kind of cool. It's a kind of a fun degree because you can take that kind of anywhere. You get your law degree, then you can go be an agent. You could do many different things. So that was a good choice. Tell us about a little bit of your experience after college.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to find a job?
It was. So I graduated in 2012, and then I was looking around. Obviously, we had the family business of building houses. That's what my dad does. Been a custom house builder for 40 years. So, but nothing really, that didn't feel like something I wanted to do. I mean, I enjoy manual labor here and there, but not every day and in the cold and all that. So I actually, I got my first job I was a merchandiser for Sara Lee Bakeries. I got that a couple months after I graduated and ran with that for a while. And really, I kind of used a little bit of my degree with that, learning how to advertise and put stuff in the right places to make it more attractive for people to buy it. So it was fun lugging bread around, but I enjoyed it.
Merchandising is not bad. I did it for a while with the beer companies, help deliver and then merchandise. And you have to make sure you rotate the product. And
it was always fun with the bread ties. I would always see social media posts about, oh, this is what this bread tie means. And I found the card the other day of what day of the week is each bread tie. There's some truth to it. I bet it's changed since I've done it because it's been about 10 years now. So.
I never really pay attention to the color of the bread tie, but I had heard that was a thing.
Mhm.
But that's good. So going from there, let's go from the bread after college. Now, after that, where's your next stop in the career?
Next stop was actually golf. Matt Linzer, you might know who that is.
I do.
Was the golf course clubhouse pro manager, whatever you want to call it, at Fairplay. And my parents were real close with theirs. They were in each other's weddings. And I was like, hey, Matt, could I, come out and work at the golf course? And he was full at the time. And eventually he offered me a spot working in the clubhouse, just bartending and closing up shop at the end of the day. And really enjoyed doing that. It was nice to have a place to learn the game and practice. And eventually was the interim clubhouse manager after he left in 2014, 2015 to go to the city. And from there, worked at another golf course. In 2015, I was at Evergreen Hill in Battle Creek. Really neat little place that doesn't get a lot of love, and it should.
Yeah.
And then from there, I stopped working in that side of golf about the end of 2015, and then I got into insurance.
Yeah.
So I started with State Farm after that, and I've been around the block a few times with a couple companies. And
yeah, we'll get into that a little bit.
Into the independent world now.
Have you been interested in golf your whole life then?
No, actually, my buddies invited me to play in a scramble the year we graduated. So I didn't play at all in high school. They played, and they had me come along, and I played in that scramble. I was terrible. The only thing I could do was hit chip shots and putt a little bit, but
sounds like me.
I was hooked.
That's all it takes. It takes one time.
Just one time.
You just need one good hit.
The endless pursuit of perfection is what I call it.
I always tell people I get that one shot every round. I'm out there for one shot in a round.
Yep.
If I get that one shot, it's gonna bring me back.
Yeah,
that's about all I get is one shot. And all these years,
there's a bunch of bad shots, but I just want one good shot.
Yeah,
in a round.
That's good. So with golf, you went out at Fair Place. How long were you out there?
I was there from 2012 to the beginning of 2015.
Okay, so a
couple of years,
decent few years.
Mm-hmm.
So you're married, right?
Yep.
How many kids?
I have two. I have a 4-year-old son, Grayson, and a 7-month-old daughter, Reagan.
How did having kids change your outlook on life?
Gives you a lot of perspective. Some things that you thought were important are no longer important. The only thing that's important is keeping those two alive and making sure they have food to eat. And well, first, when you're a first-time parent, you get sent home. It's like, what do we do?
Keep it alive. Keep it alive. That's great. How have you seen yourself change as a dad?
I've definitely become more patient. Sometimes that patience is tested with 4-year-old, but I've actually become, I call myself a softie. Like, I cry at movies now, and I never used to do that.
Isn't that crazy how that happens? God,
especially anything that has to do with like kids growing up.
Right?
And, oh my goodness.
I feel like such a wuss.
Yeah.
Wait till they get older.
Right.
It's even worse. God dang it. I used to never cry at movies, and now even a song can come on, and I'm just like starting to weep. I'm like, don't let Vance see me cry. No, it's great. It is fun having kids, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I can't really remember what life was before, just because it's been such a great roller coaster ride.
Right. That's awesome. We discuss balance a lot on this podcast. How do you balance everything that you have going on in your life between insurance, 402 golf, and family? I'm
not gonna lie. Sometimes it's tough. Last year was the biggest sales year for 402 golf. It almost was a full-time job, and I work from home for my insurance gig. So my wife works at the hospital. She's a nurse there, so she's on 12 hours, and sometimes she gets home at 6:30. Everything's a crazy mess, and I get to see her for 20 minutes. Then I have to go downstairs and work on a bunch of golf clubs that have came in. So last year it was tough. This year's been a lot better. I've kind of made it a point to make sure things are separate. So
that's good. Does she help out a lot with that too? She's busy, obviously.
Yeah.
She's 3 days, 4 days?
She's 3 days a week, every third weekend. And she's actually the brainchild behind the logo. So major props to her. She's definitely the biggest supporter of the brand. So
that's awesome. It's always good to have a person in your life that wholeheartedly backs what you
absolutely.
love.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about 402 Golf. I don't know much about it.
Yeah. So when I was working at Evergreen Hill, that was my first taste of selling golf equipment, and then I actually fixed my first golf club there. I had no idea what I was doing. I read a couple things online and gave it a shot and fixed it and it came apart, and I tried it again, it came apart again. And so that was my first taste, and I didn't really think it went well, but we ended up getting the club to work for the guy. And then when I left the golf course and started in the insurance business, I just felt that itch to stay connected to the sport. Because I mean, it is my favorite sport in the world. I think it's the greatest sport in the world because it's something you can do forever.
It's crazy that you picked it up so late in life and it's your favorite thing.
Yeah, it really is. So I was talking with a couple members from the country club, and they had mentioned that their pro was leaving, and he had done club repairs. So that left nobody in town. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot and learn as much as I can. And then 2016-ish, opened up the sand traps, what I called it to start, just club repair, and did a few regripping things and fixed a couple clubs. And then I was actually riding with one of the agents I worked for with State Farm and just brainstorming about how I wanted that to go. And 402 golf popped in my head, and I was like, that sounds really cool. And it's perfect because I'm from the 402. Like this, it's home for me. Right. I mean, my phone number starts with that, right?
Right.
So that's where 402 golf started. And then from there, I got hooked in with Tom Johnson at the country club, and shout out to him. He's been probably my biggest fan with it. And he hooked me up with all of their repairs that come straight to me. So
that's awesome.
I've learned a ton, and all possible by having relationships like that.
Were you self-taught in the repairs?
Yeah. So I watched a couple of YouTube videos, read things, and then this last year I got certified to be repairman for a few shaft companies. I do everything I can to further my knowledge every year, so that way there isn't a question I can't get an answer to. So
I like to hear that. That's good. So you also sell equipment too then?
Yeah. So I made some connections with a lot of people that are either former reps or people that have connections through companies like as influencers, say Instagram or TikTok, and they always seem to have stuff that they don't need or stuff that they can unload at a better price. And I'm always passing that better price on as often as I can. I hate the fact that you have to go to Shields or Golf Galaxy and spend $600 on a driver when it costs that company like $78 to make it. Yeah. So, and golf should be inexpensive for people that want to get into it, because I feel like that's the first thing that turns people off is how expensive the game is. So anything I can do to pass on some discounts.
Yeah, especially it's an expensive hobby. I mean, just beyond just the equipment itself, but like, I mean, you're paying green fees, you're paying membership dues, you're paying cart fees. Because nobody really, I mean, there's the diehards out there that'll walk. I'm not going to go walk a course. Yeah, I need to drink and drive my golf cart.
It needs to be pretty nice for me to want to walk.
There's certain courses, a flat course I could probably walk, but this big body doesn't like going up and down hills.
I think more people would play it too. Obviously, you'd see it in more, lower end communities too. Golf was the thing. Baseball was kind of like the entry, or soccer, I guess.
For what?
Like the easiest entry, or basketball, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much any of those sports are pretty well. Yeah. Basketball, I'd say basketball is probably the easiest because you can have a court. You just set a hoop up out in a public park. Anybody can get a basket. I mean, you just get a basketball and that. But I mean, baseball, they had stick. You go play stick ball or whatever in the on the street or whatever, stuff like that. But no, golf had a big boom in like COVID era. So
that was, I mean, one of the best things that came out of that was the boom of golf.
Yeah.
I felt like more people had courage to play because it was really the only thing you could do safely. Yeah. And from there, I love seeing all the members and people that want to try the sport and that have joined these golf courses and made them into really fun places to be.
It's definitely a lot more fun. It's fun bringing new people to the sport because you get, there's all kinds of TikToks and reels and stuff out there. It's like you just hear that one shot and like, oh, that's the one.
And it's fun to watch a light bulb go off.
Yeah,
like they hit that shot.
I want to do that again.
Right? I'm coming back.
It's addictive. It's almost a drug.
Mm-hmm.
Do you run any tournaments or anything with that?
So actually was just a part of a benefit tournament this last weekend for John Erickson out at Fair Play.
That one filled up real fast.
Yeah. We ended up with 50 4-man teams. So 400 or 200 golfers out on the golf course. And really, we started at 9:15. We were done by 3:30. I really could not believe how smooth and how fast that went.
Wow.
I have no idea how we made that possible, but
That's crazy.
I've played in some tournaments that it's an entire day.
Takes a long time.
That was a really cool thing you guys did. Was Keith helped with that too, right?
Keith Kraske. Yep. Him and his wife Linnell. Big shout outs to them.
That's awesome.
They did
he does
did
a lot of that
job.
kind of stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah,
With golf.
He does. He does a golf marathon for the Cancer Foundation every June, and I think I'm going to join him this year. And I think mine will be for Alzheimer's awareness and stuff like that. So
Nice.
And then there is a tournament coming up Father's Day weekend, the 15th. We call it TGT, the golf tournament. It's just the most generic name. I started playing in that in 2017, and then by the next year, I was on the committee that helped organize it, and we were actually reminiscing about the other day. We had a screenshot of before I got on the committee about the payouts. It was like $300 for first place.
Oh yeah.
And then this year it'll pay $1,500 plus.
Oh dang.
So
that's a big change.
It's a blast. Myself, Tyson McGill, and Sean Rowan, all Norfolk High graduates, we all run her together. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. Any other big news or cool things you have planned for the future of 402 Golf?
Not really. Just still fixing golf clubs. I've tried to get into apparel a little bit. That's tough. It'd be nice to,
like, distribution wise.
Well, just really get people interested in why it's a brand. Like, to me, 402 Golf it's El Dorado, it's Fair Play, it's Pierce Golf Course, Elkhorn Acres and Stanton. It's the golf courses that are right in your backyard. And I've actually tried to coin a hashtag lately. It's hashtag golf local, support what you have in your community, because those places are nice. Like, it's nice to have those. There's a lot of people that have to travel 30 and 40 minutes to play golf. So,
and we have kind of the pick of the litter around here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
One for about every demographic.
Are you supported by most of the clubs around here?
Yeah. When I was a member at Eldo for a few years, and I did all their repair, and then they had some leadership changes, and the guy that's there now kind of does his own thing, which is fine. Takes a little pressure off of me.
Right.
I still do all the country clubs. I do mostly everything at Fair Play, mostly everything that comes through Pierce. I got a buddy over there that does regripping, so he takes most of that.
That's really cool, though. At least you have local support.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we do this pod. It's kind of on the same lines. We started this to shine more on local things, and glad we got you on here because I think you got a good thing going for you.
Yeah, eventually I'd love to start my own tournament, like a invitational style.
What's something like that take? Like, is it difficult?
It just finding a golf course that has the availability to host. Like, Fair Play's got some every other weekend, it seems. And with money that I raise from that, I'd like to start my own scholarship and provide someone to go to Northeast and golf there on 402's dime. So that'd be probably my biggest goal right now. And then as my son gets older, I'll probably step back a little bit and see if he wants to take the journey down golf. He loves it right now. He's addicted just as much as his dad. So
well, there you go. I think it's one of those things you really don't lose, right?
No,
I don't think you can really play it too much to really lose.
No,
you see a lot of these people that play another sport and lose interest. And
definitely the biggest thing with that is I learned a few years ago to not validate yourself by how well you play golf. Because I feel like most golfers eventually fall into that because, like I said, it's the endless pursuit of perfection and it's unattainable. You'll never get there. I mean, best players in the world have bad days. So once we can all learn that with the game, it's so much more fun.
Very well put.
I've learned, I play with a lot of guys that are way, way better than me. Like not even, but I can compete with them a little bit, but I know they're better than me.
Yeah.
But I'm not playing against them. I'm playing. That's what I love about golf is you're always playing against yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the people that are getting paid on Sundays, so
right.
we're really not playing against anybody else. We're playing against ourselves all the time. So you're just going out there, just like you said, chasing perfection or just trying to make yourself better more mentally.
Yeah,
this is mostly mental.
We're out chasing $50 pin prizes, man. Yeah. We're ecstatic when we get that box of golf balls to take home.
That's funny. So anything else with 402 Golf? I mean, I don't want to overstep things with that.
No, I mean, if there's anything else you want to know.
Where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook is probably my biggest advertiser.
Do you have a website or anything?
I don't. They can get me on Facebook. They can email me, justin@402golf.com.
Okay.
Really glad I was able to nab that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I'm on Instagram. I don't really do much with advertising there. It's more of just.
Do you have to advertise much?
I mean, I don't. A lot of it now is just referrals.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked on golf clubs for the same people quite a few times, and they keep coming back and telling their buddies, and that's been nice.
Yeah, with being the only. Oh,
Go ahead.
I'll just say, with being the only one, it's probably not too difficult to find people.
No, and I've spent all the money to get all the tools and stuff. It's full service now. Outside of me being able to take you to a golf course and fit you for a golf club, we're full service.
That's awesome.
So, I was basically going to ask that if you do fittings.
Yeah, I mean, it's a goal, but like the country club has the ability to do that.
Oh, they do,
and they have Callaway and Titleist and TaylorMade all come here to do that for them. So I would definitely recommend, if anyone is wanting to do a process like that, to go check out those days when they're here.
That's kind of cool.
Where do you build sets for people? Like if people say I would like the X, Y, and Z,
so
and
yeah, if
links and stuff,
so
they know what they want.
A lot of what people are doing is they'll go to Shields. Shields is really good about this. They'll let you hit and they'll fit you and they'll give you suggestions, and then they won't make you buy anything. So if they can provide me with that information, 9 times out of 10 we can get what they want.
Yeah,
that's really cool. That Shields does that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any skin off their back. They're getting people in their store and giving them a little chance to hit some golf balls and shoot, maybe even improve and buy something. I mean,
they get somebody like me that goes in there and is like, well, I'm not going to wait for something. I just want to set now. So I'm going to buy it right now and walk out the door. That's what I did.
Give it to me off the shelf.
That's how I ended up with my irons this year.
Yeah. Is there a certain golf course that you like to golf at the most?
Well, Fairplay is where it all started for me, so I'm very partial to them. I'm not a member anywhere this year. I've actually just tried to kind of shuttle around and play other golf courses. I really like Wayne Country Club. That place is immaculate. Highly recommend going there.
I've never been there.
Just played Tatanka a couple weekends ago. That place is great too. We got Landman this weekend, and that place, I have no words to describe that. You have to go there and see it. Anytime a golf course can sell out a tee sheet in 48 hours for the entire year, it's incredible.
I suppose.
Got a trip planned in July with a couple buddies from Pierce to go to TPC Deer Run.
Okay.
The week after the John Deere Classic. So
That'll
all the stands will be set up and everything.
That'll be fun.
It'll feel like a real tour event.
I did tour Pebble Beach once. Didn't golf it.
Yeah.
I was kind of younger. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, TPC will be my first taste of an actual course that hosts PGA events.
It's a lot different than going to the old country club in town or something around here. It's kind of crazy. They got that hole that's at the par 3 it's off a mountain.
Yeah,
You're shooting over the ocean.
Yep,
that was just nuts.
I think I'd be too distracted by the view.
Right.
I don't care where this goes. Just let me stand here for a little bit.
Right. That's kind of crazy.
Give me a mud ball. I don't want to put a $10 ball in the ocean.
Right. It's when you got the guy in the scramble
Think
group.
How many golf balls are probably out in the ocean at that point, though?
You got the guy in the scramble group. Everybody hits a safe one. He's like, all right, give me the nitro. Let's
see what I can do.
There.
That's funny. All right. So let's move in a little bit. So what got you into the insurance industry? Now we can kind of move into that if you want.
My love of golf took a hit when I worked in golf as a clubhouse manager, because 7 days a week, sun up, sundown, especially at a small course where budgets for part-time help isn't very big. You're out there a long time.
Yeah.
Anytime you went to play, if you were friends with your membership, they're like, hey, why is the toilet paper out on this bathroom, or the water cooler's empty, or the sandbox needs filled, and why is there trash here? And it just made it no fun to play.
Right.
That's the last thing I wanted to do. So naturally, I picked insurance, because what do insurance agents do?
Golf.
They play golf.
Except for me.
Yeah, right. I don't get to play much either anymore. But no, I saw a job posted for a junior sales rep at State Farm. It was a new agency coming to town. It's just after Jay Kenobi switched to the Insurance 365. So applied for it, had an interview with the agent, went well, offered the job the next day, took it, got my licensing done, and been in it ever since.
How long did that take you?
I did the property and casualty in a month, and then we had a mix-up scheduling wise, and the agent I work for, she's like, hey, you got to have this done in like 10 days. So I did life, health, and annuities in 7 days.
There you go.
passed them both on the first try.
That's
and
good.
Those are nerve-wracking tests.
They are. They're not fun.
No, I don't want to take them again. That's for sure.
I had to. So when I got into it, I studied for 2 days for the PNC and went and took it.
That's bold.
Didn't pass. I got like a 71. No, you have to get a 70. I got like a 68 or something. And then I was like, okay, I need to kind of study. So I studied for like 7 days. Went and got like an 85 or whatever. And then the life and health did the same thing for 4 days. Went and took it. Passed it the first time. Thank God. But they're tough tests.
They really
I
are.
always tell people that want to come into the industry, I'm like, you better study.
I've seen many people hired and study for weeks and not pass, and it's tough.
So you kind of worked for a few different companies over the years. What are some of the differences you have seen between them without kind of, getting too into the weeds?
Yeah. Every company I've worked for, I've really enjoyed. Obviously, State Farm is biggest insurer in America. They've got a huge backing product. Everybody knows them. They know what they're worth, and it was fun there. When I was there, it was the era where those hail claims from 2014 were still kind of hanging around, and people were getting canceled for stuff like that. But no, I enjoyed it there. Worked for some good agents. There was a lot of agent turnover when I was there, and I was thankful to be the person that got absorbed each time. So really, really cared about the book of business that was there.
That's good. Then
I bounced over to Farm Bureau, another great company, great values in that company. Was there for a couple years. Opportunity came up for me to work remote. Another good thing that came from the COVID era. Applied for that, interviewed, had an offer the next day, and I've been there since. That's the independent side. It's weird going appointed with one company to appointed with 20. I mean, it's a lot to learn, but it's nice to have a place where you can qualify your risks and you know where you can put them.
And every company's different in how their websites work and how their quoting system works. And
I've used some pretty archaic ancient systems. So
I hear you there. What was it like going from two captives to independent?
So what's nice is State Farm, it's State Farm Mutual or State Farm Fire and Casualty or nothing. You just can't write it. Farm Bureau was Farm Bureau, or we had Progressive. And then with independent, it's Travelers, Nationwide, Auto Owners, Safeco, Dairyland. I mean, any company you can think of.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to have fallback plans for clients.
That's good. Do you pick, I mean, obviously per client, do you pick kind of which companies you want to kind of stick with, or some that maybe, aren't?
So what's really cool with how our system works is we use a rater system. So we quote them all.
Okay.
And then we have the ability to go in and edit which ones look the best. And obviously right now, with it being a super hard market, there's not a lot of carriers that want much new business. So we're down to kind of a few that we focus on, and Auto Owners is a big one. They've been really good to us lately. So
do you have to input and then it does all the quoting for you?
Yeah, it'll give you a soft quote. You got to go in and pull reports and confirm information. But
I always thought you had to go into each company and.
I mean, some companies have pulled themselves from the rater, so you about have to do that now. But with roof guidelines and stuff, we can pretty much qualify where it's going to go.
Right. So. Oh yeah, it's gotten simpler and simpler to know who's going to take what. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the State Farm rate, the rating class getting dropped?
So I'm indifferent about that. I was reading about it. I'm on Insurance Soup on Facebook. You probably are too, and just.
I'm more of a reader, not I don't usually post. I'll
post, but nothing that's going to get me in trouble. Like I'm not going to tell you.
I have gotten a few leads from there.
That's good.
Yeah.
They dropped their financial rating class, and then it was weird to see all the State Farm agents in the Insurance Soup say, "Oh no, that's just in California." Well, you're not in California, so how do you explain that?
Right.
And, I mean, it's just a snapshot of where we're at right now. There's not a lot of carriers that have a lot of surplus. So. Yeah. And especially with what happened just a month ago in Nebraska with the tornado in Omaha.
Yeah, and it's not done either.
No.
We'll be seeing some more weather.
It worries me. I've got a few friends that
knock on wood,
that love meteorology and weather. I was like, is this going to stop?
Yeah.
They're like, well, hopefully in June. I mean, the end of May is about the peak of tornado season for most. And it just wants to keep coming.
I love seeing the comments about the state of Florida. They got, well, they're paying all these people for their commercials. That's what happened. They dropped the rating because of that. I'm like, no, that's not why.
Right. I mean, when you got to pay Caitlin Clark, who, I mean, what she did for women's basketball, incredible. But
I know, right?
They had some big names. I mean,
Well, they had Caitlin Clark, but they even got the Lopez twins now. I saw the other day.
They had Aaron Rodgers for a while before he went.
Chris Paul.
Before he went off the rail.
Trying to think of who else. They got a whole bunch. Ludacris now.
Speaking of Ludacris,
yeah, he'll be here.
You going?
I'm not a big outdoor concert in the summer fan.
No,
I'm just not a big concert fan.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't.
I've been able to go to concerts, and I just don't love them.
I heard the Nelly one was just super hot, no wind coming through, and they wouldn't allow much for water.
But I've never seen that Bowl Arena that full.
Really?
Since like 2012 when Eric Church was here.
Really?
And
so
he packed
you
it
went?
in. I was at the fair. We did not go. You could hear it. It was very loud. But
yeah, I'm one of those that nowadays maybe just because I'm old. But if I go to a concert, I want to be in a box or something off the floor.
Yeah, sitting in a climate controlled environment.
Yeah. How much? And this is going to be kind of a loaded question. How much has the industry changed since you started?
Man,
because you were in it before I was. So
I went from a company that would take any roof, didn't matter the year, within reason. I mean, obviously, if you roll up with a 30-year-old roof, which in this climate, good luck. They took everything, and it was always replacement costs. And then to go to another company where it was still that way within reason, and then now independent, and with everything that's happened in the last 2 years. I mean, last year Nationwide shut us off. They didn't want any new business, nothing. I saw some of the biggest rate increases I've ever seen. I was used to $300, $400, $500. I mean, I had a client that went from $5,000 on a $400,000 house to 10.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to explain to somebody. But
we're used to that 5, 10, maybe 10%. Now it's 50%, 60%, 70%. Yeah.
Most every carrier we write with now has a restriction on roofs. Has to be so many years old or it's ACV.
Yep.
And I'm not used to that, but I mean, it's my opinion that within the next 18 months, I could see 5K wind hail minimums and ACV for everybody.
Yeah. So I talked to another agent not that long ago, and I'll just give a hint. He's been on the podcast, that he said that replacement costs on roofs should have never been a thing in the industry ever. That it should always be ACV.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. I think it within reason, like maybe the first 5 years.
I was mixed. Yeah. I'd say maybe 10.
But after that, I mean, we have hail that comes through here that doesn't necessarily warrant a claim.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be some sort of hail damage. You're just waiting for that big enough storm to claim it. So
right.
as long as it sheds water, that's really all your insurance carrier really wants to care about. So
yeah. I don't know with ACV, it doesn't always people always squander a little bit when it comes to replacement costs and ACV, and they think that ACV is such a bad word, when it comes to roofs and siding. And I'm like, if it really boils down to it, the depreciation, it depends if you have a 30-year-old roof or a 10-year-old roof. The depreciation on a 10-year-old roof is not going to be that bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. And it's hard to tell somebody that, you put on a 30-year shingle, it's going to last 30 years, because it's just not the case anymore. Not with the extreme weather we've been having.
No. And I don't even want to talk about wood shake.
No.
That I don't know if you know much about wood shake roofs, but they need to go away
forever.
Completely.
They look cool.
they look really cool. I've got one up in Omaha. They got tile roofs up there.
Yeah.
That's another one that
there's I see a lot of Da Vinci tiles in Omaha, and they're like
those are the newer ones though, right?
Yeah, they're almost like a composite clay type material.
Because those are supposed to be
they're class 4 rated.
Yeah.
They're expensive, very expensive.
Almost worth doing though if you got if you're looking at a $2 million house.
Oh yeah,
go ahead and do the $200,000 roof.
Yeah,
especially you're going to be slapped with a 1% deductible,
right? That's the other thing is, we just went to finally to a deductible. You have to have a certain deductible, wind and hail. Finally, I think we were one of the last ones to enforce it. But how did you kind of see that go down the line with clients? How did you have that discussion?
I just tell people if the goal for me is 1% of what the dwelling A replacement cost is. That's a pretty good line. Because I think it's weird that, a couple of years ago, people that had $500,000 houses could have a $1,000 wind hail deductible, but I have a $200,000 house and I have to have a 1%. My deductible is more than yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those type of situations, I think, that drove a lot of that. So having that conversation isn't terribly tough. I mean, right now it's every carrier is doing it.
Yeah.
So if you're upset and you shop it, you're going to come across the same thing.
Yeah. I've been a proponent of high deductibles forever.
Yeah.
Always. Because I think that's what kind of ruined the industry in the first place, was these low deductibles and these monstrous, not monstrous, but the quantity of claims was a lot. Because people could, it's only $500 deductible. I can go claim whatever I want.
It was a maintenance plan, not an insurance plan.
Right.
And really with these deductible increases, they're trying to prevent that. And it's hard for some people that are used to that generation that was, 50s, 60s, 70s they're more inclined to want to file a few more claims just because they were used to it.
Yeah.
Being able to. So
it's also some of the people nowadays, money's tight.
It is.
For even people like our age, and thinking about having $1,000 available or even $3,500 available for a wind and hail claim can be kind of
which is
big
fine,
deal.
but high deductible, the premium should be down. I've always said that.
That's what I mean. That's what it does in general.
Well,
but yeah,
it should go down. So the insurance industry is going the wrong way. It's going up in premiums and up in deductibles
right.
across the board. And that's the wrong way to be doing it.
Right.
I've always said that my view of insurance is it needs to be a catastrophic only.
Kind of like health insurance almost.
That's my my opinion as well. It's also, that's kind of where I was getting to with the way the industry went, is that if they just would have kept the deductibles high in the beginning and with the premium low, these types of things would have never happened.
But people look into it and they don't trust it, which I
don't blame people.
You guys are in insurance, but I don't trust insurance companies.
No.
I trust in agents, but I absolutely do not trust the insurance companies as a whole.
Do you see us now as the used car salesman? Do you kind of get that vibe?
It feels
people feel
like
that way about you.
Yeah, it really does. And then you get the well, what do I have insurance for?
Well, that's
sometimes it's hard to answer that question.
It is.
Really
I've
is.
always been fairly diametrically opposed to insurance. Me and him have had long conversations about it. I know it's needed and I get it, but it also.
But again, I think it's only needed. It should only be needed for catastrophic loss.
Well, just imagine you live in a state where it's not required for you to have insurance, and then you're rolling down the road and Joe Blow hits you with no insurance, and then you're up a creek. Yep. There are states like that out there.
That is life.
It truly is.
It really is. That's life sucks.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So
having to go through some of the claim processes. Walk me through some. Have you had a bad experience? Where you had to kind of tell the client, "Oh shoot."
Well, when I
was,
you
don't got to name any names or anything, but
when I was at State Farm, I had 3 car accident deaths in a month.
Oh goodness!
And those were extremely difficult.
Deaths of your insured or deaths
of the insured? Extremely difficult to talk to clients about. Just the other day, I had an instance where it was in Omaha. All that rain, basement flooded. Sump pump failed, and water came in, and he files a claim and calls me, says, "What's my coverage?" And I was like, "Well, it's $5,000 with a $1,000 deductible." And boy, the ripping I got on the phone.
I'm sure.
But I mean, it's important for clients to understand when you have a policy, you need to know your policy.
Yeah.
Don't just get that mailer and toss it in your filing cabinet.
I tried to. Yeah.
And it's on us too, though. Yeah. Agents wise, you gotta have those meetings.
But you can't cover everything.
No.
Like you can't. I try to go through as many of the coverages as I humanly think I can, and then I always tell them it's always scenario based.
Right.
Like if you got water in your basement, well, how'd the water get there? You had whatever. Well, how did it happen?
Yeah. Did it happen in a flood, or did a stick break the window and then the water came in?
Yeah, I just had water.
We went
in
through
my
that
basement
in Battle Creek
a month ago.
Did it come through the wall?
We were sitting downstairs. It was that April 26th where we had tornado warning up here.
Yep.
And my wife looks over, and where we store our Christmas tree down there was wet.
Ooh.
So I was like, well, that's weird. I mean, this house 4 years old, drain's fine, the grade's cool, the downspouts are away, and it just kept coming in. I'd vacuum it and it'd come in again, vacuum it, come in again. And it got to the point where every crack almost in the basement was like moist.
Oh,
And so obviously with excess rainwater, unless you have flood insurance, which 9 out of 10 people don't, unless their lender tells them, hey, you're in a floodplain, you need flood insurance, or we're not going to give you a loan.
Half the time you can't even get in flood
But
insurance.
even then,
unless
when you
you're in
have flood insurance, you still have to have X amount of water in there before they even worry about it.
Right. So
Because there's no difference between 5 inches and 2 feet. It's the
true.
same amount of water. It's the same. It is the exact same damage.
it is. Called my dad up. He thought it was strange. We drilled a hole in the floor, and water just slowly
Really?
came up out of the hole. So
Wow.
we cut an 18-inch trench around the exterior of the inside of my concrete floor for about 150 feet around the house.
Oh my gosh.
Dug a trench, put interior drain tile, added a second sump pump pit and pump.
Oh my God.
I pumped 10,000 gallons of water out of that basement
Oh my gosh.
in 11 days.
Holy cow.
And thank God the pump finally slowed down. It's like every 15 minutes, but the new pump runs way more than the existing one. It's super weird, but for a while there was like a symphony. This one would go off and then the other one would go off. But yeah, that was a tough project to absorb financially.
A lot of water.
It's a lot of water. It's a lot of tons of concrete to move out of your basement.
God dang.
I'm just glad it wasn't finished because it made it a lot
house?
easier. Yeah. We couldn't figure it out. We had been dry and then actually my neighbors up the street had the same thing happen about 14 years ago and theirs was worse.
Huh.
So we were like trauma bonded over that now. And
Right.
he's very helpful. And he told me there's an underground spring just by his house, which he's probably good 500-600 feet up the street, but it runs all the way through Woodland Park. And we were thinking that with all that rain, it maybe fanned out a little bit and we just caught that excess groundwater. But
Interesting.
yeah, when they dug the foundation, we asked the guy, because the general contractor on it just lives up the road. And he's like, yeah, we didn't hit any water. It was dry. So I was like, man, I'd never seen, like, anytime someone says there's water in my basement, it's like a chill for me. Oh, water is so undefeated.
Anytime water gets brought up, I'm like, please, God, tell me it came from something that's covered.
Mm-hmm. The path of least resistance is what it takes.
I just
My
hate having
goodness.
those conversations like, well,
Sorry,
it's not covered.
what do you mean it's not covered?
Right? Oh,
The only time I saw flood covered when you didn't have flood was the 2019 flood, just because it was so catastrophic. Well, and
Yeah.
actually Farm Bureau covered some of that on the ag side as a company.
We did. We covered it as a company. We also had a fund available.
Yeah.
Through our membership program. That was anybody who wanted to. It didn't even have to be a Farm Bureau client. Anybody that needed relief could ask for it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was. So if anybody ever asked me what the membership's for, that's a perfect example of.
I always
Where that money goes.
struggled with that.
Yeah. I don't mind. I just bring that story up.
Yeah.
Every time. There's been other circumstances, but that's
Mhm.
the one that people can really go with.
Yeah, they can latch onto that.
Yeah.
Really understand it.
Mm-hmm. So give me your outlook on the next 5 to 10 years on the industry.
Well, I don't think we'll be replaced by AI. I just think there's too many variables with insurance for that to work. Definitely agent-wise, I don't see that going away. I do think it's going to be tough to get coverage, especially replacement costs and those bells and whistles that you have now in the next 5 years. It really just depends on how intense these storms continue to get. And funny thing on that, I was at a Farmers Mutual meeting and their president said that severe convective storms used to be a secondary peril with reinsurers. And after 2022, it became a primary peril. So it's now seen the same way as hurricanes and wildfires and
really?
earthquakes. It's a primary peril for reinsurers.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't
didn't
believe
realize
that.
that.
So it's tough for those smaller mutuals to reinsure their risks, because I'm only aware of one company that doesn't reinsure, and that's State Farm.
Yeah.
So
That's the only one I know of.
and then eventually those surpluses are going to dry up when you grow as fast as some companies want to grow. So
I have a feeling, and this is sad to say, but I have a feeling that some of these smaller mutual companies are going to either be absorbed or be no longer
yeah,
in the next 5 to 10 years. Just the
Yeah.
way the industry's going.
there were some rumblings on BC Mutual that I heard at the beginning of the year, but they seem to be.
They got bought, I thought.
Did they?
That's what I read anyway.
Because they were reinsured by Sodak
Yeah. Last I knew, they got bought by, and I can't remember the name.
That wouldn't
The last
surprise
I
me.
knew.
I know IMT has been buying up what they can for ag insurers in Iowa.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how all this stuff changes hands a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Well, I saw the other day Geico is thinking about appointing independents, and that would be a really weird move for them.
It would be.
But
That'd be super interesting.
mm-hmm.
And going back to the AI, car insurance isn't horrible. You can go and get your own policy on Progressive or Geico or wherever, and hope you pick the right recommended coverage.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not too worried about that. It's the home insurance that, or even like trying to go quote your own farm or something. That'd be difficult.
Yeah.
You definitely wouldn't have the correct coverages there.
People just aren't educated enough, and I think that's one of the most fun parts about being in insurance is offering the education. So
it's half the reason why I got into it, was to be able to teach people, help people. It had nothing to do with the money or anything. It was just that, I can have conversations every day and try to help people out. Why not?
Yeah.
Have you had any difficulty getting new clients right now in the climate?
So my primary role with where I'm at is I do everything but sell the policy.
Oh,
So it's really nice. It gives me a lot of work to do, and I enjoy that. My days are full, and
so you're kind of okay.
yeah,
That makes sense.
I'm an account manager, so one step below the executive. They bring in the business, I quote it, give it back to them, they sell it, I bind it, and do everything from there.
That's nice.
I mean, we seem to be okay with new business. We've hit our goal the last 3 years, so
That's good. I'm not gonna say it's easier, but having more companies to mess with is
for sure.
definitely helps.
And having a populace around you of almost 1 million people, there's a
Right.
lot of people to choose from.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Any other thoughts on the insurance side? Anything else you want to delve into on that? I didn't really go too.
That's
I
okay.
kind of stayed at the surface.
Yeah.
If you bring it up, it's fine. If I bring it up, it's a problem.
I'm worried about some carriers exiting after what happened in April.
Yeah, exiting Nebraska.
Just
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, that could definitely be a thing. I think if they didn't leave Iowa or South Dakota with the derechos,
Yeah.
who knows?
I mean, that broke a very long streak in Omaha of tornado doing that kind of damage.
There's a lot.
And I mean, I had a guy that has it's like a $2 million property, and he lost everything.
Yeah.
Just there in Elkhorn. And somebody called me and said their grandmother had an 8 foot by 8 foot organ, probably weighs 1,500 pounds. It's not accounted for, just gone. Like, to realize wind can do that kind of damage. Wow.
You're just seeing some of the videos and the pictures and stuff. God, that was because they did consider that an F5, right?
That one was rated a 3.
A 3.
There wasn't significant enough damage. And I never really understood how the Weather Service does that, but I know they don't go handing out F5s like they used to.
Right. Yeah, that's just devastating stuff. And then the Greenland, Iowa?
Greenfield.
Greenfield.
Yeah.
Greenfield.
Yep, Greenfield.
The whole town's gone.
It was the best TikTok I've ever seen. Best news and interview. Did
Was
you
that
see
the
that?
golf clubs?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was hilarious. The guy's like, the interviewer's talking to him. He goes, "Yeah, I lost everything. I had a lot of damage, but I lost all my golf clubs. I had like $3,000 into that set."
I did see on, I think it was Instagram, there's a company that makes golf tees. They're called Bird Darts. Great
Bird Darts.
marketing. They come in a little box that looks like a cigarette box. It says golf is an addictive sport. And they set up a fund to help that guy get some golf clubs.
He's like, shout out Callaway, shout out TaylorMade, shout out Titleist. I need some help getting a new set.
Well,
geez, for a while there were people that would DM Callaway and say, how many likes or what do I have to do to get a free driver? And so they would tell them, and you had just the most offhanded things come out. And
That's funny.
I do love how those big companies have played ball with smaller people, smaller influencers. And
Yeah. I almost think that's the way they need to. You see all these companies doing this stuff with the big influencers.
Yeah.
And I get that, but you're a big enough company. Do something with somebody that's up and coming.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I don't know if you guys know who Good is. Good
Yeah.
Golf. So I started watching them during the pandemic. I mean, Garrett Clark and those guys, and they started off as just a little small thing, and just to see what they've done for the game of golf with YouTube videos and TikToks, and they've hosted their own little meetup tournaments. That's been pretty cool to see, and then get sponsored by Callaway, and that's awesome. I mean,
That's legit.
I would say that YouTube golf is almost in line step with PGA golf right now.
Really?
Especially when you have
there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of those guys, all those influencers and stuff. They get like Bryson will be on, or Max Homa will be on, or Tiger Woods will join them, and like all
That's
these
really
guys
cool.
will join them.
George and Wesley Bryan are by far my favorite YouTube
I'll have to
golfers.
check that out.
And Wesley Bryan's won on tour, and his brother George has got to play in a couple events here recently. But they're Bryan Bros Golf. I'd definitely recommend check
it
them out.
Definitely. Vance, do you have any other questions on insurance at all? I know you. I don't know
Not
if you,
really.
no
You guys kind of
pressing
went over
questions?
everything I was thinking.
Okay.
I mean,
'Cause I can't always bring them up, but I can. That was that was what I was told. So as long as I'm asked the question, we're good.
well,
Yeah,
what do you want me to ask?
I don't know.
I was
I
telling
just
my
wanna make
wife.
sure you didn't have any.
just write it on
Yeah.
over here. Let me
I was
know.
like, should I have asked work about this? I was like, I'm not gonna really dive into anything deep enough.
Oh, you should be okay. It's just we didn't really talk about any.
No, no names are brought up.
No, we didn't really talk about your company.
We're talking about things that most of the general population probably already knows.
Right.
Because if you watch the news,
Yeah.
home insurance is really hard to get in Nebraska. Yep.
Yeah. We weren't giving away company secrets.
One of the highest average premium states right now.
It is. It is. At least we can still get it.
Yeah.
Whereas like California, Florida, places like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck getting any coverage. Okay. So nothing else on insurance, guys. Nothing at all.
no, I'm
Okay.
good.
What impact did COVID have on all of your businesses?
On the insurance side, it was weird. I worked for an agent, Farm Bureau, who we just kind of stayed the course, did what we normally did. I mean, I wasn't necessarily too concerned about getting COVID. Pretty healthy person, but after seeing with what my wife went through at the hospital, it really did change my opinion on it. I mean, at the beginning there, it was actually honestly pretty scary just to see. It was really unknown, and I mean, some average people were getting it, and that was it. I mean, they didn't make it. They went to the hospital and didn't make it out. With the golf side, it was fun to see people get into golf. I fixed a lot of clubs during that time. New golfers, new temperaments, new shaft breaks. So it was good for golf. Got a lot of people interested. Insurance side, it was nice to see companies give back to their insureds. Obviously, nobody's going anywhere, so people weren't driving. It was probably a record low year for auto claims.
It probably was. It was probably a record low year for miles driven.
It
Yeah.
was so awesome driving in COVID.
Right?
I drove fast
Mm-hmm.
everywhere.
Yeah. It was definitely that was kind of right at the, I had just kind of started in like 2018 and just kind of getting my feet wet. And then this happens and it's like, it's crazy. But now it's all behind us. But now your job you have now would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
During COVID.
No, it's funny. Our CEO, he brings it up every once in a while. He's like, yeah, when it happened, I said I'd see you all next week, and I haven't seen some of you since. So
That's funny.
everybody's been at home.
That's great. So those are kind of, I mean, is there anything else that you would like to discuss while we're here? I have some ending questions, but we'll save those for the very end.
Well, obviously you guys are Husker fans. I've
Yep.
seen that. How about the baseball team?
Oh, I know. We're going to talk about that on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh man, we had that golf tournament Sunday, and I don't know why they moved the game up for weather, but there was no
Yeah.
weather.
Because it was a tentative.
It was
10
supposed to
o'clock.
be a really crappy day Sunday. It ended
Yeah.
up being the best day of the
Beautiful.
weekend.
Yeah.
Like it was so nice out Sunday afternoon.
Just to see how that game went and how they won it, and
It was a
just
great game.
true testament to exactly what Will Bolt's been trying to build
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
Nebraska.
you
So
get run ruled on the first game of the tournament. That's
everybody wants
it's
his
tough
head.
to come win.
Yeah.
you gotta turn it around quick.
It was a lot of fun to watch. I'm not a big baseball fan, but I did watch at least 3 of those games. So
Yeah, baseball is something. Oh, geez, I remember back in the early 2000s when Nebraska made the tournament a few times, and those were fun. But no, yeah, it's funny. The original reason I went for sports marketing, sports management, I wanted to be on ESPN. That was my goal, my dream.
Yeah.
I wanted to be as connected to sports as possible.
that time
Announcement,
of the years, yeah, same, yeah.
anything. Loved it. And I'm probably a little too invested in Nebraska sports, but I get a little flack because I speak my mind a few times, but
That's okay.
I'm tired of losing, man.
You've heard us, right?
Yeah.
We speak our mind. It's okay.
I'm tired of losing.
I hear you. We are too. It's good to see. I mean, we got some sports now coming up. We won the baseball, and volleyball's been pretty good lately. Now we just need the football to.
I'm all in on the Roulades, so it's just not taking me off of that bandwagon. We're 7-0 going into Ohio State, and I'm going to keep saying it, man.
Just seeing everything that's gone down in Boulder with Colorado lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Shiloh Sanders is declaring bankruptcy to get out of a civil judgment that he had back when he was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to go down in such a blaze of glory. And people say that everybody hates Deion and Colorado now. I think that's not going to be pale in comparison to how Colorado fans are going to feel after he leaves.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
I'm so torn on Deion because like he'll do things where I was like, you're so awesome. Like he'll talk about things that really matter. Like about we're here not as a team. We're trying to build young men that are leaders, that are fathers, that are husbands, shit like that. He talks about it all the time. But then he'll turn around and then do the same shit. Like, oh, we didn't need you anyway. Who'd we lose? We didn't have anybody. I didn't see no starters leaving. Like he'll do stuff like that. It's like, man, you got to find that. Let's like get somewhere in that middle area because you could be so much better. And you should be a good voice because there's times that he talks and he is a really good
carries
voice.
Some weight.
Yeah, and he does do he does stand by some really good things at times. And then there's times where it's like it's too much, man.
And he's going to be there for a while because I think in the next 5 years he owes Colorado if he leaves.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember.
I looked it up on the TNT boys the other day, and he owes like if he leaves next year, it's like $10 million he'll have to pay Colorado, and then it goes tiers down.
He has to buy his own contract out.
Yeah.
Which if he leaves, he's getting a contract somewhere else, so they're paying that buyout.
Well, right.
I'm so pumped to see that game in September under the lights. And
we're gonna stomp them.
That's man. If you remember in 2014 when Miami came here, I've never seen a more intense atmosphere in Memorial Stadium. I'm all about it. I'm excited.
It should be a lot of fun. So, do you want to talk about how we had met and going into kind of the noon ball stuff?
Sure. Go
ahead.
Yeah. Played a lot of basketball after high school. Was never good enough and couldn't play in high school. I mean, we had a really good class of seniors.
You did.
Some guys that went on to do some college ball things and see Jonah Bradley running a performance camp now, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Good to see him. He was just back, I think, last weekend doing one here in Norfolk.
Oh, really?
So
he seems to be doing some good stuff.
Yeah. He was in the coaching game for a while. I played noon ball with my buddy Tyler. We went about every day, and you were in there and back with shirts and skins, and I always felt so awkward playing that way. But
I did too. But
gosh, it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Noon ball back in that time frame was that was like where you networked too.
Yeah,
like it was all businessmen.
Oh yeah,
scattered with.
Yeah, we talked about it. We talk about it all the time. That's how we met. And we were from high school kids all the way up to 60-year-olds, 65-year-olds, and everybody played. And
I remember there was a guy.
We played till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
There was a guy that used to come and he wore this gold chain. Can't remember what his name was, but he was an older guy and he had some handles. But it was always funny when we played shirts and skin, he'd roll down with his gold chain bouncing and just behind the back it to somebody. We had some interesting characters.
Gold chain. I don't know who the gold chain.
Trying to think of a gold chain that had handles.
we had some good ex-college players too.
Yeah, we did. I don't know.
Did Robo wear a chain all the time?
I don't know. He might have.
I'm thinking of like a pass behind the back. Robo would.
I hear
come
gold
to
chain.
mind
I think
way.
Jerry.
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't. It
wouldn't have been Jerry.
You wouldn't have called handles and Jerry at the same sentence.
Jerry's skinny. Are you talking handles like dribbling handles
just
or
passing?
I'm thinking it's got to be Robo.
Yeah, probably. Who knows? But it was a lot of fun. Those are some good times. Very good times.
It's cool to see the YMCA expand too during that time at a second gym. And
it sucks we have all these gyms now and they only play at like 5 a.m.
Really?
Yeah. Well, COVID. Ever since COVID, so they quit noon ball, and COVID that's when I quit. I played noon ball pretty religiously, at least during the winter, all the way up until COVID hit. When they canceled, they stopped doing it, and then It had to be they were done for 6 months, maybe. Nobody really went. And then they started going at like 5:30. And I've probably gone a half a dozen times, maybe a dozen times since then.
You ain't getting me balling at 5:30 in the
It's
morning.
just so hard to get up at that time. Like I get up to go to work. I don't want to go do it on my days off.
Right, right.
Like,
I'd love to play again. I just don't think my body can handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Not to that level. I could go play like 3-on-3 or
yeah.
something that's half court.
You can catch me in a game of horse.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not running up and down a court anymore.
But it was fun while it lasted.
It was.
It would get pretty intense in like the, like winter break time.
Mhm. Oh,
We'd
yeah.
have like 50 guys there.
Mm-hmm.
That was always.
And those
nuts.
were the ones that like they were real competition till 3-4 o'clock. And that's when you like those were days where you were literally icing yourself down after 4 hours of noon ball. Especially if you were running the court.
Yeah. And that was the other time if they had that other gym closed and you had 50 guys in there.
Yeah.
It was very competitive because then you stayed on the court. And if you lost, you were pretty much
done for
the day.
Yeah. Especially if you were there because you only had the hour or whatever.
Right. That's cool. Anything else at all? We're almost at about an hour, and then we can do the whatever you want. We can talk as long as you want to.
When were you in high school? When did you graduate?
I graduated 06.
Okay, yeah. That would have been, what would I have been in 06? 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been about the time football ended for me.
Was it?
I remember football camps leading up to that, though.
Yeah, so we would have met like right before you had to.
Yeah.
Because that would have been.
Probably.
Because I would have only done camps.
4 and 5?
Yeah, probably 4 and 5, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think if I did it as a junior or not, but I might have only done it 1 year. I probably did it 2 years.
Yeah.
I bet you I did it 2 years. Because those are a lot of. I honestly wanted to get into coaching as well. That was something that I had a passion for. Obviously, I just love education, I guess. I don't know. So those camps are always fun.
Yeah.
To run and.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed being a part of them.
Yeah. Sad. It sucks you couldn't keep playing. What'd you play when you did play?
I played safety.
Did you?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I was great at football, but I really enjoyed hitting people. So
that was my favorite thing.
Sometimes you miss that, you know.
Nowadays, I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have hit people so hard.
Right.
Because now I got head problems, but oh well.
Yeah, it was nice for golf to be there to catch me when I fell from that stuff. So
that is great. You kind of got to fall into something like that. Golf just wasn't there for me, so I don't know what I want to fall into. Podcasting, I guess, is my hobby now.
I almost wish I would have got into it earlier, but
golf is there for everybody.
It is.
You just have to do it once.
I've done it. I've done it many times, and I'm horrible.
Don't enjoy it
every time.
You know what helps? Beer.
Yeah, I know. And then if I have one too many beers, like I get to a certain spot, I'll have like 3 beers and I'm good. Like things are going great, and then I hit that 4th beer, and then it just everything goes downhill.
That's the sweet spot. Can't do no wrong.
Right. Other than that, I mean, getting into the broadcast, like you were talking about, you want to be on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
That's half the reason why we did this.
Yeah.
Was so we can have our own platform, have these mics in front of us, and not have anybody telling us what to say.
Right.
We don't have high self-esteem.
No, not at all.
We don't think our opinion matters.
Nope, not whatsoever.
Not us.
At least it matters that you have an opinion, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's half the battle. That's why our other show's called Useless Assumptions, because they're just useless opinions that we have.
Yeah.
So, but we like to bring light to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we can kind of get into that. You want to get into the juicy ending questions?
Yeah, sure.
Or is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't.
Do you want to show do you sell this stuff?
Yeah.
Do we want to
show it? Yeah.
We can probably zoom in on that a little bit, can't we?
I can go do it.
You want to
I can go zoom in on it. Yeah.
Sure. So with the apparel and merchandise and stuff, I was doing logo golf balls. I was going through a company called Vice.
Yeah.
They're good with high quantity logo golf balls. Not the best, but this year I made a decision to get a little better quality products. So I did logo balls on Titleist Pro V1s, probably one of the most recognizable golf balls there are, but been getting into laser work. I've got these wedge divot tools that a guy in Norfolk lasered for me. It's Midwest Laser Engraving.
Yeah.
David Colfack, I believe is his name. He did a great job. Started getting into stickers. Anybody can get into stickers. And then I had a gal on Etsy make me some sweet business cards. And then on the back side is all the information with the QR code that takes you right to social media for me. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, it's
And you guys sell all that stuff?
So yeah,
through like Facebook?
I sell the golf balls here and there. I actually like to give a lot of stuff away. That's my big thing. I do major giveaways. Every golf major there's a giveaway on my Facebook page. Really easy to join in and participate. I've given away golf clubs, a golf bag, shirts, golf balls, just random things, gift certificates to other golf courses, gift cards so you could buy stuff at the golf course. But yeah, I enjoy giving stuff away. I mean, yeah, I could sell it and make a profit, but that's not really what I was trying to do with 402 Golf. I don't charge what, say, an Ostad's or Golf Galaxy charges to fix a club. I'm a little bit cheaper. So that way, like I said, go back to the expensive side of golf. It started as a hobby. It turned into a little side business, and it's been great.
It's really cool. Business cards. You don't see too many that are cut out like that.
No.
That's really cool. That's awesome. I mean, that's cool. You got your own merch now too.
Yeah.
We're trying to get into that. We might have to talk to you after the podcast.
I saw your hat. Who did you do your hats through?
So it was a gift.
Okay.
From somebody. Our old producer Ryan got that for me. I can't remember where he got that. What was it called?
It's Velcro, I see.
Yeah, it's like and that's part of the name of the company. It's like
I thought it was patch something.
Patch hats or
interesting.
something. So I got another patch. It's got a USA flag.
Gotcha.
For that, but
yeah,
they're pretty cool.
Merch is expensive.
That's half the reason why we haven't gotten into it. We have gotten into a little merch, but we don't like have it on us. It's something you can go on the website.
You know what I'm really bad at is carrying my own business card.
Me too. Me too. You got a card?
Yeah.
In my pickup.
How do I get a hold of you?
So I've now started just doing the share, like my contact card on the gives all the information.
I ran across somebody that his business card's just a QR code. He pops it out of his pocket. You take a picture and voila.
Yeah, I've had people do that before too. That's kind of cool too, actually.
Yeah, I did hats for a few years in a row, and those sold like hotcakes. I worked with a company called Branded Bills. Probably heard of them. They do the leather patch, and they do this patch that I have here. It's PVC.
Oh.
So holds color really well, lasts forever.
That does not look like PVC.
Yeah, it's kind of a rubbery, soft material, but no, they've been great. Just they get spendy. I mean, when you got to order a minimum on these PVC hats is like 26 hats. So
at what, like, well, you don't want to say. You don't want to say. It's fine.
No, it's okay.
Well, you don't want to say what you're.
It's like between $20 and $30 a hat is my cost.
Okay.
And again, it's a thing I sell that I don't make a ton of money on because my goal is get as many out there as possible.
Right. I hear you there. We've tried that same thing so we have Roulade shirts. I don't know if you've seen that on our posts.
I think I have.
So we've got those. We've been trying. Haven't had too many buyers yet, but we haven't had any stock. So they have to go on, order it, and then they get, it gets delivered to them, or they got to go pick it up.
And I've thought about doing that style, but it's just satisfying to if someone orders something, it's like, oh yeah, I'll bring it to you. Here you go.
Right. We've thought about that too. I don't know.
But it's really hard to commit to that many pieces of merchandise.
It is.
Because it's like, what do you do?
Well, then sizes, and when it comes to shirts, like hats is a little different, but
I made some shirts a couple years ago. It was a year after Encanto came out. And We Don't Talk About Bruno, right? So I took that and thank you, Disney, but I changed it to We Don't Talk About Bogeys. And I put that on a shirt and sold them. And they went great at first and then really slowed down. And then last year I was like, I'm selling these shirts at cost. Come get them, and got rid of the rest of them. Nice. And now people want them again. So
that's how it goes.
Might have to bring them back.
That's funny. That's really cool. You got that stuff. Thanks for bringing that too, by the way.
Yeah, that's for you awesome. Guys.
All right. You ready for the hard hitting questions that we talk about on here?
Yeah.
With it being an election year, how do you feel about where the state of our country is right now? And do you feel that we are being well represented at the federal and state levels?
Stuff is expensive. I don't feel like everybody has a voice. As far as representation goes, I'll be honest, I did not vote for who's in office right now as president. If we're offered the same choice, it's going to be really hard for me to pick between those two again, because it just seems like we're voting for the same thing every year. an old white man and an old white man. So at the state level, I feel like we do an okay job. I wouldn't really label myself as a liberal or conservative. I'm probably about as middle as you can get. But I find myself leaning one side more than the other. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of things could change this election cycle. It'll be interested to know if we're voting for someone that's going to be in jail or not. So
That'll be interesting to see. We'll talk about that on Thursday on the useless assumptions. Probably, I'm sure we'll get more news about that here soon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that the two-party system that's in place today still works in today's time?
I feel like it's probably a little out of touch now. Most of the people that are in those parties are 60, 70, 80 years old. And government then was a little bit different than it is now. I mean, the Republican Party now versus what it was 30, 40 years ago is so different. So I think it could be done away with or expanded upon. I would honestly think a few people would maybe vote more Green Party or something like that now, just because they don't agree with what's put up for either the two main parties.
Yeah, it's difficult because of just how the longer that somebody's in politics, the more corrupt they get.
Mm-hmm.
It seems even people that have left the state of Nebraska to go through things at the federal level, it seemed they had good intentions in the beginning, and then the system kind of got them.
Yeah,
it seems like multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an answer for this. We do feel that there's it's kind of the system that's there, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's two parties.
There isn't. We call it a uniparty. They're just all in it for each other, scratch each other's back.
Yeah, I mean,
it's DC versus rest of America.
Yeah.
It seems like
if I don't think a lot of those people that are in Washington give a hoot about the constituents that they represent.
No,
not at all.
We've said that a bunch.
I don't think any of them do. Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, and they're always the ones that are fighting for things that we all believe in, and then they get shut down right away, and they get to speak for 10 minutes, and then it's over. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a crazy time we live in right now.
It really is.
I do feel that if we can't get at least somebody else in there than who's in there currently, that the country could go in a really bad direction.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
No. Where do you see yourself going in the future? Are you enjoying where you are? And do you see yourself staying in Northeast Nebraska?
I'm probably a lifer here. The only other place I'd want to go, probably Arizona, just because it's more accessible to golf, and I'd probably do okay down there with the club repair business and whatnot. And with being remote for insurance, I could probably work there too.
Most likely, yeah.
As far as goals and where I see myself, just financially free is really a big thing for my family. I don't care too much about money, but it's nice to be in a position where you can absorb some things that might come up. I'd like to stay in insurance. I really like helping people out, care about most of the people I help about.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't try to hoodwink anybody with insurance. So
yeah, that's good. I like to hear that.
Yeah, I enjoy Norfolk. It's big enough to be big enough. It's not
especially
like,
once you have kids.
Yeah, it's not like Omaha where you get lost.
It changes once you have kids, it kind of changes your perspective, because my wife and I wanted to leave. Actually, she was already in Omaha, ready for me to come down in a month, and then found out she was pregnant. And I'm like, well, go ahead and move back, because we ain't going to live in Omaha with a brand new baby and be away from our parents. So.
Yeah. And like my wife is from a super small town. She's from the town of Winnetoon, Nebraska.
I've heard of it.
Which is up by Creighton, Nebraska.
Okay.
35 people, and her family is probably a quarter between her and her grandparents. So
this is the big city for her then.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. She enjoying it though?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny when we first met and we're talking about getting married and stuff. She's like, well, I don't want to work in Norfolk. I think I want to work in a big city. And the 180 that's happened there. We go to Omaha and her knuckles turn white when she's driving.
That's funny. Well, other than that, I mean, that's kind of all the stuff I had.
Okay.
So unless there's something else you want to get out to the old folks that listen, we're kind of getting up there.
Yeah.
We're getting what do we say? Anywhere from 100 to 175
Oh yeah.
listens a episode.
Nice.
So
Moving on up.
getting there. Trying to get some sponsors, and yeah, it'll be fun. But anyway, so unless you got something else, we'll probably end it there. You can always come back. We always tell that to people. You can always come back and do another podcast.
Oh, for sure.
So that's it. If there's nothing else you want to talk about.
No, I don't got anything else unless you've got any more questions.
That's all I had, I think. We could have probably dove more into insurance, but I'm going to test the waters with this episode. So if we do another insurance, if I don't get any flack for this one, then we'll bring you back and we can have a whole insurance episode. Maybe we'll bring another agent in or something.
Yeah, bring me back during football season.
Oh, we will.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we could bring you on. You could come on to Useless and do a football episode with us if you want.
I'll be full roulated out.
Yeah.
Come
he'll be
August 1st.
screaming in the mic for 11-0 or whatever.
If we die, we die, right?
Yeah, if we die, we die. 100%.
That's great. Well, thanks to my co-host, Vance Neidig. Huge thanks to Justin Sommerfeld. Go check out 402 Golf. We really appreciate you making time for us today.
Thanks for the invite.
No problem. And keep on the lookout for more great episodes. See you next week.